Welcome to a video about what we've been working on for quite a while now and hope to have ready soon for all of our customers is this new version 16 of WinBidPro. And it's, as you can tell, not done yet, or else we'd be telling you about it sooner. But I did want to get to a point where we're showing you what we've got so far and that we are close to getting something in your hands. And we're hoping first quarter of next year for a lot of people, and maybe a little earlier for power users that really want to look at it right away. So the big deal with this is the catalogs are going to be hosted on the web. So if I go to vendor catalogs, it's going to have a screen like this where I can get to parts, I can get to framing systems. All this information is coming from the web right now. You know, whatever entrances are configured, door frames, door leaves, all that stuff. So it's going to make it easy to update catalogs, make it easy to for you to add catalogs, and all the updates are going to be real time, but you'll still be able to go in and see all the changes you've made, and those are separated from the default information. So we've kind of managed all that behind the scenes. Now you've got your reports menu. So the menus are along the top, and then on the left are all the job information. So the job name and the elevations. So I can actually click on another elevation here, and it opens up a tab along the top here. And notice I've still got my cut pieces tab. So I can jump around and have a bunch of things open. But a cool thing here too is I can detach this tab and move it to another monitor if I want to, and then mess around with it and either close it, or I can anchor it back to where it was on the top of the screen here. So that's kind of a neat feature. I can pick obviously elevations from this list, but once I get them up here, I can also click on the different tabs and separate ones I want to from the screen and everything. A lot of things are similar, like you can still edit a framing system from you know, the layout tab. The drawing tabs are very similar, so that'll be familiar to everyone. Even the framing system layout, this is very similar to the other version 15 screen we have. But when we get to components, there's actually some big differences. So components is similar to what we had before for stock links and gasket and miscellaneous parts and things, but now we're doing it with assemblies. So an assembly is a group of parts that make up something like a head. So if I want to edit an assembly, I'll have a screen and I can actually add a part, and I can add anything. I can add an extrusion, I can add gasket material, I can add whatever I want, and I can actually search up here with this little search bar, but then I can also search with this in the columns, kind of like you do now in 15, but the one main search window or search field here kind of searches everything in one place. So, but I can basically add all these different components or parts to make up an assembly or a component. So everything's kind of in one place, and we'll have a picture of the detail here and all the settings that kind of pertain to that part. Things like if it's silicone glazed verticals, we'll have some settings for the silicone gap. There's a lot of things that we've added for things like splice joints and SSG systems and things like that. So all that stuff is under the components section of framing systems. So that's kind of a brief look at that, but it's a very different thing that gives the program a lot more power, and we think makes it easier to kind of work on the framing systems and configuring them. So again, we can click on just the list of elevations over here, and they show up. We can do things like put a different profile in for a given sill piece in an elevation in one panel. So that's something the 15 wasn't doing. So a lot of features like that have been improved. The drawing features, putting a door in, you can just click on the panel. Putting horizontals in, you can click the panels, things like that. So you're interacting with the drawing more. We still have, some tweaking to do to make these dimensions look better and things like that. But it's this is an example of what SSG verticals will look like, where the dashed lines are the back member and the black line here is the silicone gap. And as I say, that's all configured in the component section of the framing system. So things like that, being able to split a panel and define the daylight opening of the split area as opposed to just having equal splits. It's going to be a lot of things like that have been improved. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what the program's going to be about. The drawing tool is different, so I can click on something like pan and pan around and then turn that off. And I can still zoom in and out, of course, but I can zoom to fit here. So a lot of things are just hopefully more user-friendly than ever, and then more powerful than ever as far as drawing more things and making it easier to get around and things like that. So, a big thing before we're done here is when you go to the jobs window, a lot of the tools are going to have a different look, like the windows and stuff, with kind of new icons, but they'll have like a search field, or a lot of them you'll be able to filter with the columns like you can in 15 and things like that. But notice how there's a vendor column here, and notice how there's like a pinned section and just an all jobs section down here. So I can pin and unpin jobs so that those are ones, let's say, I'm currently working on, and those show up at the top. Now, one of the reasons that's helpful is because the jobs window is going to show every single job that your company has. So it's not just by vendor. It'll show the vendor that job's for, but it's going to show all the vendors' jobs in one place. So you don't have to try and remember what vendor you quoted a certain job in. You just have the jobs here and you can find it. And then it tells you what vendor it's in. And then when you go to create a job, you can pick which vendor you want to use. So a little different. We think it's a little more powerful and better experience. So that's a big deal. But I'll try and release a couple more of these before the thing's actually out, but it's coming up soon. Just wanted to let you guys know. Thanks a lot.